Hello, welcome to Maverrik Live. I'm your host Luke 2, and today I'm joined by Curtis Cheer.
Hello again, everyone.
And I brought you in because as our resident sales, I don't use the word expert, sales ghoul, expert master, our salesman is Curtis. So we're talking today about how do you make the perfect sales call. So this is kind of out of the boat of what we usually talk about, because usually we're all about generating leads, first of all, getting the clients in, and then we sort of do the rest. But we're kind of stretching our arm out a little bit and saying, well, this is how you approach it, essentially. I want to pick your brain about it, about the perfect sales call. Yeah,
because obviously, essentially, it's a very important factor. Although we focus on getting client inquiries, actually, if you don't get the end bit right, all of that work and effort you've put at the start actually just goes away. Yeah, getting them across the line is kind of thing that a lot of people struggle with. Mainly, it's due to a lack of preparation at the start, I'd say. So that kind of goes into the first point we've got, which is preparing for this sales call in general. You can't just go into it blind. You can't just you can't cold call, because that's not really a sales call, is it? You can turn it into a sales call if you're interested, but a lot of the time that could just end in a phone down. So when in terms of I actually want to go back to the first question. Do you think the perfect sales call exists? I failed at saying that. I don't think anything perfect exists. So you're always looking to fine tune and improve everything. So essentially, you'll find that one thing that may work now, but a couple of months later, people either get used to it or they get smarter, and actually you're going to have to update that. So you can almost get close to perfect, but I feel like everyone's always on the journey to be perfect. So as long as you're always looking to improve, as long as you're always looking to listen and just take the time out to improve and basically help those habits, and what more can you do?
You could walk away from one call and go, that was awesome, I completely nailed it. And then you'll go into another call, say the exact same thing, but it will completely fall in your face. So it is, because anything to do with people is subject to change like all the time. So I kind of agree that I don't think anything perfect exists in the world. You just sort of refine, and you get there. So now we're going to go with the preparation. So this is kind of all about what we do, isn't it? This is the lead generation, this is building relationships, this is getting to know the person, and going in with that will help you tremendously.
Yeah, so it's all preparing you for this one moment. So you've got to think you're almost trying to sell to someone, and you're going to try and get them to part money.
Yeah.
And with anything like that, you almost have to show your credibility, because obviously, why would they part of their money? And this will even show in the preparation stage, where you may not see it as that important, but actually, if you come prepared, they may associate that with how you work with them. So they go, oh, actually, Luke's bloody prepared everything here. He knows all these questions that I'm going to ask. He's answered all these great questions. He already knows so much about my business. Actually, he may be really good when we actually do work together. Because obviously, this is almost still the free stage, isn't it? Like this is almost like a discovery call or a consultant talk. So essentially, if you do the little efforts, which we've had these lives about like beforehand, if you make effort with the little things, it always helps the big part. So
it kind of streamlines the whole process. It's like setting up to a start. So if you're doing a race, and at the start in the blocks you haven't got your foot on the block properly, you don't know how to like move forwards, you could start up and fall straight away.
Yeah, and also you want the call to be. You almost want to take it away from a sales call, and you want it to be a talk and a conversation between two people. Yeah. So as long as you know things that make the process smooth, instead of going almost having to like go back and forth to work out who they are. If you know these things, you can have a very easy conversation about something and just keep it moving forward, instead of going back and forth, and then the other person remembers, actually I'm on a sales call here, and that's something it makes it more unnatural.
That's something I'm really bad with a lot of the time when it comes to any form of conversation. Sometimes on LinkedIn where I try and get to the point a little bit too quick. I'll just go, okay, so we want to do this. When you get to the point too quickly and you don't try and like just have a conversation and like try and establish why that question is going to be raised in the first place, like, oh, you need our services, okay. If you immediately just go, okay, our service does this, and not ask, well, why do I need that service? It can make a difference.
Yeah.
So you need to listen to their needs essentially and wonder how can your service actually benefit them. Because if it doesn't benefit them at all and you've sold something to them, it's going to cause a lot of problems down the line, isn't it? So, oh, this didn't solve this problem. Oh, you didn't actually talk about what the problem you needed solving was. And then it can be like, oh, well, I just assumed you knew. So having like that just in the air, it helps people finalize their product, understand what service they need to provide, and just helps the relationship in general.
Yeah. So essentially, basically touching on what you just said there, people buy different things for different reasons. So if we talk about a discussion that we had earlier about gym, people will buy an exercise bike for several different reasons. So there'll be people that want it for stamina, there'll be people who want it to improve their legs, there'll be people who want to improve their hips. So if you're always treating that client or that call as them buying this product because of whatever reason that you think, you may lose that sale because you're assuming. Whereas you need to obviously ask them what their pain points is, and you need to follow on from that pain point, because actually you need to go, they have this pain point, not the one that I usually pitch for.
Yeah.
So therefore I need to restructure my strategy and like my service towards that need now.
Yeah, you're like, what? Why am I in this conversation in the first place? And you understand that, oh, they don't want all of these views, they want sales. Or
Yes.
they don't want their sales, they want more people to understand their business and understand their brand. And that's the conversation we go through. So if you're going into a conversation with, I mean, you can do any examples. If you would talk to someone who's approached your business and said, I'm interested in what you do, it's obviously because you solve their problem somehow. And it's about working out how you solve a problem. Best way to do that is get them to explain their problems, like you said.
Yeah.
So ask those leading questions. You're saying like, oh, so, I mean, give an example of a question you would ask someone who was just approached you and said, hey, look, my LinkedIn's terrible. I want to build it up.
So
what should I do?
Predominantly, a lot of the stuff I tend to ask is, what are your goals? Because the reason why I want to understand their goals is I want to see what the result is for them. So whether it's more visibility, whether it's more sales, whether it's I want to grow my company, because you can find the reasons why. So anything that you say and do will have benefits, but you need to find a benefit to that specific person.
Yeah.
Because if you're giving them other benefits that other clients may have received, that's not what he wants. So therefore, that's not going to be the benefit to that person that you're speaking to.
You can work your way backwards from their goal, I say.
Yes.
So if you said, oh, my goal is to get this, you're like, okay, so the reason you're not got that goal right now is because you're struggling with the rest of the ladder towards it. So you kind of have to work your way backwards in a sense. So ask what their goal is, and then work your way back and say, okay, your goal was the fact that no one understands what your business does. So your problem or struggle would be creating the right content to, show people what you do. And then you've got an offering there. You've got, I can help you build this. I can help you understand this, and we can teach you how to, create that content.
Exactly. So it's basically just reverse engineering everything, but that all comes from listening. So as soon as people get on the sales call, they've always got the urgency to tell them how they can help or pitch what they can do. But essentially, if you don't know how you can help that specific person and what they want you to help them with, you can be pitching a completely wrong idea or a completely wrong product to them, and then therefore you've lost your chance there.
Yeah, they would just switch off and go, well, you can't help me now.
Yeah.
It kind of brings on to our last point now, which is the closing of the sale. So it's finalizing what you're going to do. So that's kind of the actions behind it. So after the end of a sales call, say, okay, we've established what you want to achieve, what we can do for you, and then it's all about finalizing then the action. So closing a sale then would be about starting an action, would you say? Or would it be about, would you talk figures straight away, or would you try and work that way into the...
Figures are a very small part of the closing, because basically what we do with all of our sales calls is we almost want them to buy into our value. So through listening, where we show we can help, we show that we can help with their specific problems. So that's why listening is so important. So when it comes to closing should really probably be about 10% of your call.
Yeah.
Because essentially it should be, you need to introduce each other, find out who you guys are, basically find out the backgrounds of each other, listen to their problems, explain how you can help with those problems, and then the closing comes. So it's almost like an overview, but you're very specific about your overview. So you're saying...
This shouldn't be lingering over everyone.
No, because obviously everyone straight away wants to go, I need to close on it, I need to pitch this person.
Yeah.
Because they've got that urgency to make that sale. But actually, it's the listening and everything else beforehand that's the most important part. Because you can't close the right close without hearing like literally what they've said, because obviously you could be closing something, but you can't. Are you closing that person, or are you just saying a statement,
or give a goal, or do anything to help them better out? What I'm trying to say, you can't then provide a service if you don't know what you're doing later on.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, oh, I want £100. What for? Well, just because he's like, okay, so what we'll do next is we'll do this, this, and this for you, and then you can discuss figures and everything else later.
Yeah.
So it's all about, I'd say, having those next actions set in stone, a service or a product you provide, and then moving forward with it.
And then simple traits as well, which a lot of people will be nervous or want to know about, is you have to be assumptive in your close. Because the minute you say we could possibly do this, we could, or do you mean?
I have to get back to you.
Yeah, exactly. So the minute you start using words like that, there's almost going to be a shed of doubt in the person that you're speaking to.
Yeah.
So you need to be very assumptive and positive about what you can do for them. Whether it's we're going to do this, we can get you here, we can get you here, because that positivity comes across.
Yeah.
And it's going to help that close.
I'm going to put you on the spot now, actually, because you're working with Josh Ramirez currently, and you're helping build his sales call. He's been on a few sales calls now. Yeah. Is there anything that is any piece of advice that you always give him before he goes into a call? Yeah.
So predominantly, it's all about listening, and everyone who has a sales call, they naturally will have a script. So people will think, the minute he says this, I want to say about this, I want to say about this service. But actually, you need to remember that you need to turn that sales call into a conversation. Yeah. So that person on the other side feels relaxed, and also relaxed that they trust you, but also that they're relaxed to also buy from you at the end. Yeah. So the way you do that is when they go a bit off topic and start talking about maybe their problems, instead of thinking, I need to introduce my next line or
I need to get into this point of the conversation now.
Actually go, hold on, park that. Yeah. I need to talk about this problem or like talk about what he's talking about right now, just so it has that organic conversation. And then they're like, oh, actually, we're really just talking about issues here. Yeah. Now I feel really comfortable. Now let's talk business.
Yeah, it can feel like it's drifting away, but that drift can just be a natural flow in a sense. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I'm not talking about what we came here for. We're talking about something else, which is kind of, oh no, I should be talking about this one thing. And you focus on it so much. But if it drifts and it flows correctly, you can then bring it back into what you want to discuss.
Yeah, so like anyone knows that. So anyone who's got a script, it just feels a bit unnatural when they're sticking to the script too much. Yeah. So when someone's clearly addressed an issue that they're facing, and people like to talk about their problems, so you need to address that instead of going, oh, actually, well, we can help here. The other person's going to go, oh, hold on, I've just shared an issue there. Like, maybe they're not listening, they're just really wanting to pitch
They're just looking for buzzwords in the conversation, which is, oh, now he said that, he's now gone and jumped onto...
So listening and having a actual meaningful conversation with that person will always help that.
And that will help you reach that, you were going to say you're never going to get the perfect sales call, but it will help you get to that level of a sales call where you'll start closing more sales.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming down, Curtis.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for watching Maverrik Live. If you have any tips or advice, please comment below. And we will, obviously, we're going to review them, see them, and give you more advice and tips if you want them. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can follow us on all our social media channels. And we'll be back on Monday for our next Maverrik Live, and we will see you there.